Hello, everyone. I'm Fran Gallagher. I am an intuitive life coach, and I'm your guide to meditation, intuition, and relationships. So, what is an empath? An empath is someone who literally feels other people's feelings. So, over the years, I've come to believe that it is actually our natural state. And those of us who are highly empathic, we are normal. Other people may have killed their ability to be empathic because it was too painful. The upbringing that they had, the life they were in, the environment they were in, may not have allowed them to continue to be sensitive. They might also have had trauma or some kind of congenital issue with their nervous system. Um, but a normal, neurologically typical, psychologically typical and healthy infant and mother are both highly empathic. That's part of their bond. They literally feel one another's feelings. And if we maintain that, we are naturally empathic as we move through life. But of course, life has slings and arrows, as we might say, and our empathy gets injured over time. And so we must cut down on our ability to be empathic. So, one of the ways we cut down on that is by crossing anything, crossing our arms, crossing our legs. If you're like me, you might do both. I even double cross my legs. So, what this does is it actually cuts down on our ability to sense the world around us, the people around us. It is a defense. Now, it may also mean that we are being closed to an idea someone is giving us. But we're going to think of it more in the context of cutting down on the amount of stimulation we are receiving from the world around us. If we're open, if our body image is open, we look like we are receptive, this will be reflected in our posture, in our attitude. You know the difference if someone looks like they're being open to you or if they are closed to you, what you're saying, what you look like, who you are, what they think about you, what they think they know about who you are. All of that will be reflected in their posture. And it will be reflected in our posture. We can either choose to be open and conscious and aware of our openness, or we might choose to close down, and that might be a healthy thing, but let's be conscious of it. Let's not do either one from a naive, automatic, societally conditioned place. In other words, women are conditioned to be much more open than men, and men are conditioned to they're allowed to be a little more choosy with when and how they're open. Women are expected to be more automatically open. Men might be expected to be more automatically closed. And of course, this doesn't apply to all women or all men. I'm just saying that societal conditioning seems to run in those directions. So, what we need to do is track our felt sense, the state of our being. And when it suddenly changes, let's look for a reason why. One reason could be that you are, as I do sometimes, picking up the emotion of someone around you. You could even be picking up emotion that was laid down in a room you walk into or in a building you walk into. For instance, notice what it feels like to walk into a church or a chapel and what it feels like to walk into a grocery store. There is a quality of experience that is very, very different in those two places. Notice what it feels like to walk into a sporting goods store as opposed to a high-end department store. Start noticing these things. You are picking up a substrate of emotion, and under that is an intention for the space that someone laid down. You might walk into a grove of trees and feel a presence or an intention there that is held in that place. Maybe the trees are ancient, then it will be more powerful. As an empath, you can, by becoming conscious and aware of your state, begin to choose what energies you will take on, what emotions you will take on, and what emotions and energies you don't want. You don't have to go around being an air conditioner or a vacuum cleaner for all the ugly emotions that other people leave behind. These are called ungrounded emotional energies. So, if we are responsible for what we are feeling, let's say that my emotional state suddenly changes, and it is, I realize, because someone just said something nasty to me. They intended for my emotional state to change. And as an aside, one of the reasons they might do that is because they may have felt overwhelmed with their emotional state. And so, a primitive way to deal with that, which isn't dealing with it at all, but it's just what a lot of people do, is to snap at someone or make a snarky comment or in some way act out so that they transfer some of their icky emotional energy to the next person they meet. That's one way for them to feel better. It's again primitive, it's irresponsible, and it's ultimately immoral, and that's bad karma. But it's what we learned to do. So you can practice what I call spiritual aikido, which is to step aside. Don't accept their barb. It has nothing to do with you, it's something they are dealing with. So as we navigate our state as empaths, as we own it, then we have conscious control over it. But if we don't own it, if we don't understand it, if we don't attempt to learn it, we won't have any control over it. And we'll go on being victimized by the energies around us. So, this ungrounded emotional energy is very common. Here's how we need to take responsibility for our emotions so that we don't spew them all over our environment. We feel them. We stop and we feel them, and every emotion is designed to have a life cycle, honestly, and it's allowed to arise, peak, and dissipate and leave behind energy either for peace and acceptance or for taking action. So, most of us learned not to allow this life cycle for the emotions. We learned to either repress the emotion, what emotion? Suppress the emotion, stuff it down, or we learned to truncate it somewhere at the top and go around being angry. You know people who do these things. You know people who literally will tell you, oh, I'm not angry. Or, no, that's all right. I'm not angry anymore. Or they might leave it at a high pitch and go around spewing their anger, making snarky comments, being quick to anger. How do people go from 0 to 60 into a rage? It's because it was right there under the surface, waiting to be excited once again, like a electrical spark getting excited. So as we learn to be curious, feel our feelings and wonder why we're feeling them, wonder how it serves us, wonder how we can turn it around and make it useful for us. We might decide, I'm not going to hang out with people like that anymore. We might decide not to go to a certain place because of that person's ungrounded emotional energy and their irresponsibility with their feelings. And let's make sure we're not ungrounded and we're not irresponsible with our feelings. So I hope you found this helpful. Be safe as you move through this sometimes messy world full of unconscious, ungrounded emotional energy. Take good care. Bye bye.